Good evening, everyone. Today we are on session number 13 of our special workshop on using GoldWave with screen reader. We are almost done yet. I think maybe one or maximum two more session we will take, and then we will finish this. So hopefully it helped you in some ways and will help in the future as well. So without further from my side, I'd like to just go directly to the Q&A session. If you have any questions regarding our previous sessions, you can certainly ask me and I'll try to answer.
Okay, so I have a question regarding Q points. So
Yes.
suppose I have made some editing. Suppose I have an audio file. Suppose I have an 30 minutes audio file. So I have cut and do something changes. Then I pressed Ctrl S to save it. Then I added a Q point. Suppose any of the middle position of my audio, add a Q point by pressing Control Shift plus Q and give a name.
Okay.
Suppose something name. Then press OK to save it. Then I have pressed Control S to save it. When I have opened it again and pressing Control plus J, it will not move to my first queue.
Which format you are saving? In which format?
Oh, WAV format.
Okay.
And especially I'm using NVDA. So
That doesn't matter because it is the native feature. So have you checked in by going to the Q points dialog whether you are having any queue or not?
no, actually I don't have. I have not checking.
So
But
first you
if
check,
you,
first you know add the queue because you are having issue.
I am using the GoldWave version 6.55.
I think I am using this. Yeah, I am using the same. Okay, so in case of WAV file, you shouldn't have any issues like this. But I'll recommend you to cross check after adding the queue. Just go to the queue point dialog and make sure that your queues are there. Okay, and then save it and then again open the same file and see whether you are having the same queue. Because it should write it down. I mean, if you are saving as WAV file, it should write down the queue. I don't know why it is not happening in your side. Maximum we can just check. We can just create a queue. Let's see.
Yeah, I just wanted to check on the same topic.
Yes.
Can I ask my questions also on the same topic?
Yes, go on.
The questions are, number one, I found that when you in the first instance when you press just Q, it puts the Q in the beginning, I believe, and then Control Q. I was actually trying to create the Q points by pressing Control Q.
Yeah.
But I've just heard just now that you need to press Control Shift Q. Is that correct?
No, Control Q means it is kind of automatically add one queue without any additional dialogue. It will automatically name it according to the time. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you want to create a name, give it a name, specific name, then you can press Control Shift Q and it will ask a name.
Okay. So it is so when I press Control at a particular point where I want to put the Q, when I press Control Shift Q, it will mark there and it will also give me a dialog box, an edit box to put a name.
Yes.
So and once I do that, I'll need to save it by pressing Control S or something. I'll need to save it, right?
Yeah, if you want to save, I mean, you may not wish to save the same. You may wish to just I am adding queue and then I'll process and then I'll forget about it. Okay, I don't need to save it.
So would when I'm pressing the audio, Control Shift Q and doing putting the name, will the file still, the audio will still be playing or it will be on silent?
First, you need to press the start marker, or you can stop, or pause also.
Okay.
And then you can add queue. Okay. You can
Okay.
you
So
can add queue on the fly as well. I mean, it will also work. Like because in that time also when you are dropping the queue, when you are giving the name, etc., your audio is still playing, still
yeah,
going on because you have not stopped it. So what I do,
yeah,
if I have to insert queue on the fly, like I'm recording and I have done some mistake, okay, then I just press
yeah,
control Q. I don't need to put any name because it
yeah.
will be time consuming. Other than that, if
Right.
I'm editing, like I'm playing and in the middle I have stopped and I press the start marker, okay, and then I am adding a Q, and in that case I just press control shift Q if I really wish to give it a name. Because
Okay.
unfortunately when you are moving by queue by pressing control J, control shift J, etc., it will take you to the next queue, but it will not announce the name of the queue, unfortunately. Okay, so
Yeah.
only benefit of naming your queue point is when you are in the queue points dialog, like by pressing alt plus F7 in my case, then you can come to know, okay, this is that particular queue. So if you
Okay.
want to
You know
delete
where
a particular queue,
okay. You know where you are. That means, yeah.
ha ha
And so the way I understand it, it's better to actually when I'm listening to the video audio and I
ha
reach a point where I want to edit, I can press pause and then put a cue over there, name it, and then release the pause and then move on,
ha.
listen to the next, and then I first put all the cues in the recording, and then I can go back and address
Yes.
each point.
Yeah.
That might
Yeah.
be more organized. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Obviously, that way can also use.
Right. Thanks. That's useful. Yeah.
Just let me cross check whether the cues point is working. I mean, while I'm saving.
Okay, just if you show us that suppose you have recorded something, then place a queue with by pressing Ctrl Shift Q, then save the file, then close the GoldWave, then open it. Then if we will check the queue points is working or not.
Leaving
Okay.
menus. Slower. Time 0.
So this is a recording. I'm just going on like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not dropping the queue right now because I'll drop by pressing Control Shift Q, but I'm just recording. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Maybe I'll drop a queue now, and then I'll speak again like A, B, C, D, etc. So let me stop the recording. So this is a recording. I'm just going on like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not dropping the queue right now because I'll drop by pressing Control Shift Q. So here I have just paused it and pressed the start marker. Okay, and then I'll drop a queue.
Edit queue point dialog.
I have
Name
pressed
edit.
Control Shift Q,
001.
and I'm naming it queue number 1.
Queue. Number 1. Enter. File on title.
Then again I'll go, but I'm just recording. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Maybe I'll drop a queue now. Here I have again pressed my start marker and pressing Control Shift Q.
Edit queue point dialog. Name
and name it
Queue. Number 2. Enter.
queue
File
number
on
2.
title.
Now I'll check
Time.
if it is working. Control J, but I'm just recording. Yes. Now, and then I'll yes. So my cues are there. I can again cross check by pressing Alt F7.
Queue points dialog. And queue list view. 10 hours, 0 minutes, and 10 seconds. 88,000 0 hours, 0 minutes, and 6 seconds. 89,998 queue number 1.
1 of 2.
20 hours, 0 minutes, and 17 seconds. 7.
So
File on
my queue is there. Now let me save this.
Save sound as dialog. File name test. Delete. Tree view. Items view list box. $recycle. Items unspecified expanded. Media left paren enter. $recycle header. File name edit combo. Test delete. Save as type combo box. Wave left parens. Toolbar hide attributes. Save. Cancel.
3%. 100%.
GoldWave. File test delete.wav.
So it is saved. Now I'll close this.
Close.
No file.
Even I'll close GoldWave.
Desktop. Folder view. GoldWave 47.
Open it again.
Enter. GoldWave. Control. File test delete.wav.
And I have opened the test delete file, but I'm just recording. See now my 2 queues are there. I can again go to the Alt plus F7 queue points dialog.
Queue points dialog. List view. 20 hours, 10 hours, 0 minutes, and 10 seconds. 20 hours, 0 minutes, and 17 seconds.
So my queues are there. Okay, so it works. I don't know why it didn't work for you,
File test delete
but
.wav.
it should work pretty well.
Close.
No file.
Is there any more question from anyone?
The queue dialog will show the queue markings only if it has been saved. Is that correct?
If you have added queue points only, even if you don't
Yeah.
add queue points, then it will be empty list. But if you have
Okay.
added queue point, even if you have not saved the file, but you have added the queue point, you have dropped it either by pressing Control
Right.
Q or Control Shift Q or only Q. Or only Q will just add a queue at the start, at the very beginning. So
Right.
there is no point of adding that queue, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay, but you can just press Control Q to drop automatically, and press Control Shift Q to manually rename the queue, etc. Those
Right.
queue points will be there, and from that same dialog you can split it and you can do some other stuff as well. You can just edit the queue, okay, if needed.
And can you
So
remove
what is the alternate option for Alt plus F7? I mean, go to the queue points dialog.
You can go to the tools menu. Okay, from there you'll get the queue point dialog, queue point option.
No file.
Now I think you don't have any question, so let me go to the focus topic. Okay, first obviously I'll speak about the amplitude statistics dialog, which Ratul has asked several times. But before that, I'll touch one more thing, which is the loudness dialog. Now see, we are dealing a lot with the volume, okay, using different type of tools like compressor, which is also dealing with the volume of the file. Because ultimately what happens now in sound industry, you have some ethics or principles, like my content or my audio will be loud enough, my all of the parts of my audio like instruments, voice will be heard, and it will be having some effects if required, etc, etc. So volume, loudness, it's a big part in the audio industry, and you have several tools to do several things with the loudness. Now if I go to the volume sub menu,
Alt C. Menu. Auto gain .
see you have a lot of options which we have already covered most of them.
Change fade in, fade out, loudness, match volume . Unavailable.
T.
Now it is showing unavailable because I have not loaded any audio. I'll obviously load one and then I'll show you. But there are two tools or two options or two effects, if you want to call it effects.
Loudness . Alt plus L unavailable.
One is loudness
Match volume . Unavailable.
T.
and one is match volume. Okay.
Maximize volume .
And we have maximize volume, which is kind of normalization, which we have already talked about.
Shape volume . Auto gain . Change volume.
So see,
Escape. Escape.
first
Menu.
let me just
Menu. Escape. Escape.
add.
4%. 100%.
File voice -01 -01.
Okay, so I have just loaded a temporary file. Let me first talk about match volume. This option is actually called RMS. Okay, but for the sake of the ease, GoldWave has named it as match volume, just the way they have named maximize volume instead of normalization. Now see, when we are normalizing,
Full form of RMS.
root mean square. When we are dealing with the normalization or maximum volume, maximized volume, what we are looking at? We are looking at the loudest part of our audio, and then we are increasing or decreasing the volume according to the reference of the maximum loudness. That could be a little click, like that could be the loudest part of my audio. Maybe others like, hello, how are you? Like whisper, but only there is a which is the loudest part. So in the practical situation, I have stated the same fact several times. You may be bored to listen the same thing over and over. Like when we are dealing with the peak, we are scanning the whole files or selected portion of the files audio, and then we are trying to find the loudest portion of the audio, and then we are adjusting the volume accordingly. See, if the loudest portion is like loudest click is like, let's say -6, and I want to normalize it to -1, that means the whole volume will be increased by 5 dB to make the loudest click in my example to be -1. Now maybe the other stuff, except the click, that loudest click, other stuffs are very low in volume. So it will not be a practical thing if I, let's say I am creating an album. Okay, so there I am having 5 songs, for example. Okay, now if I go that route, if I just normalize all the songs, maybe I'll find that one song doesn't have enough gain, one song is little more than I expect, etc, etc. So there will be mismatch. Okay, and we'll have to turn the volume knob up and down again and again while I am listening the whole album. So that is why previously we used to use a particular reference or particular method of finding the loudness of our audio, which is called RMS. Now root mean square is the full form of it. Now this thing which I am now talking about is very pretty advanced. Just to let you know that when you do any course on digital audio workstation, you have some divisions or segments of your course. Like for example, if I just divide it this way, like first is operation, basic operation, where you learn how to record, how to delete, etc, etc. Then you learn about mixing, I mean where you learn about the effects, and then you learn how to mix properly, and then you may wish to learn about MIDI, and then at the last stage you will learn about the mastering. And these things which I am talking about is in the mastering section. So it is little hard for me to explain everything in a very normal or non-technical way. Okay, so I'll skip some parts, obviously some ins and outs, because you'll not understand it properly because you have not done the in such courses, like on mastering. But still I'll try to explain as much as I can. Now see, root mean square or RMS is a kind of a method of scaling the loudness of my whole project or my whole song, if I just take it as a song. So it will kind of make an average of my loudest part and quietest part. Now how it will do that? It will do like, okay, it will scan the whole song, for example, and find the loudest peak, and then again it will scan the whole songs and then find the quietest peak, and then it will make an average. It's not like that. It is kind of it scans continuously throughout the song. Okay, like, okay, this is the loudest, this is the quietest, this is the loudest, this is the quietest. It kind of scans the whole songs, and it has some method which I will not talk about. It will be very much technical. Okay, but it will basically it will scan the whole song and make an average of the overall loudness of the song. Okay, and then let's say I want to have my album and I want to have like -12 dB RMS in all of my songs. So if I can do this, if I can match that particular value, like -12, -13 for all of the songs of my particular album, then I'll get a complete album where the volume is kind of same in all the songs. And that method we have used for a lot of time. I mean, it was like very famous method which was used for a long period of time in the music industry, in the audio industry. Okay, and there is a huge battle in the audio industry which is called loudness war. Okay, so loudness battle or loudness war, because people have different opinion how loud my song will be. People have different opinion on that. Okay, and it's an ongoing and it's a never ending battle because people have different opinion on that. You can make your song too loud, that will squash the whole dynamics of your song. Now see, I am talking to you for 1.5 hours minimum, and I am talking in a dynamic way. If I just talk very loud all the time like this, I can just be very close to the microphone and continuously talk, hey, see, this is the GoldWave and this is the RMS. You will having ear fatigue and some kind of pain in your head and ears as well. So there is a huge battlefield in this particular ground, like how loud my song will be, etc, etc. I'll not go there. So this RMS was, as I have stated, that it was used for a long period of time, and that is something we can deal with the match volume dialog. So for example, let's
File
say
voice dash 01 time 16.
I'm having this thing. I arise from the dreams of thee in the first sweet sleep of night, when the winds are breathing low and the stars are shining bright. I arise from the dreams of thee. So this is a piece of audio. If I go there in the volume dialog
C.
Auto gain.
and choose match volume,
Fade out. Loud. Match volume.
T.
Enter.
4%.
Leaving menus. Processing average scan dialog. Cancel. File voice dash 01 dash 0.
first what it does, it make a scan and try to find the average RMS of my current file. So if I press shift tab,
List view. Mono 0.0811 minus 21.82 dB 0.8404 minus 1.51 dB.
1 of 1.
so see
Channel. Mono.
channel mono.
Average. 0.0811
So this is the average in percentage.
dB. Minus 21.82 dB.
Minus 21.82 dB. That is the average loudness of my song, of my this file actually. RMS value of that particular file.
Final peak. 0.8404 dB. Minus 1.51 dB.
And my peak is minus 1
dB. Minus 1.51 dB.
minus 1.51 dB. Okay. Now normally when we deal with the speech like voiceover, maybe we should be at least at minus 16. Our RMS value should be at least minus 16. That is the kind of industry standard. And again, you have different opinion. People have different opinion on that. Okay, somebody may think, okay, that should be minus 10. Okay, but normally minus 16 is the kind of basic starting point. I mean, your audio should be at least minus 16 RMS loud if you have some kind of voiceover, poem or something like that which deals with the voice. Now see, my maximum peak value is minus 1.5. So if I normalize it instead of matching volume,
Escape.
if I
File voice dash
normalize
0.
it, let's say I'm going there,
100%.
maximize
File
volume,
voice dash 0.
and I'm normalizing to the full dynamic range.
F. Full dynamic range. Enter.
4%. 100%.
File voice dash.
So see how much volume I have increased, only 1.5, because my peak value was minus 1.5 and now I have normalized it to 0 dB. So that means only 1.5 dB of volume increase. See, I arise from the dreams of the kind of same. It is sounding like same. A little bit of increase. Now again, I'm going to that match volume
Alt
dialog,
C. Auto gain.
I.
Loudness. Match volume. Enter. Leaving menu.
and let's see.
List view. Mono 0.1454 minus 16.75 dB 0.8661 minus 1.25 dB.
1 of 1.
See now
Channel. Mono. Average. 0.14 dB. Minus 16.75 dB.
minus 16 dB RMS I have received after increasing the volume.
dB. Minus 1.25 dB.
6 out of range.
dB. Minus 1.25. Final peak. 0.866 dB. Minus 1.25 dB.
But the problem is I don't know why it is still showing the maximum peak value as minus 1.25. Previously it was minus 1.5 something. Now it is showing minus 1.25. Though I have increased it to 0 dB. Maybe it is showing me true peak. I don't know. I need to check. Now you may have confusion. What is the meaning of peak and true peak? Now again I am telling you that this is little advanced. It should not be the part of the GoldWave learning, but still I am just trying to explain. Like let's say when we are checking the peak value, it is fine. You have already come to know that I told you that when you are converting your file, let's say I am now dealing with a piece of wave file. Okay, now I have normalized it to 0 dB and now I am trying to convert it to the MP3. Then it may happen like after I convert it to the MP3, maybe the volume will be increased by a little amount. Okay, so maybe the maximum volume will be 0.4. So that means more than 0 dB. That means clipping. Okay, so basically when we convert analog to digital or digital to analog, there are some changes in the volume. Okay, so true peak is kind of a measurement which tries to measure, like after converting it to the, even if I save this, as WAV file, still maybe there might be some changes in the volume, because now we are dealing with the digital, but when I am playing the WAV file, it is converting it to the analog, because I am finally listening it through my headphone or through my speaker. So there might be some changes in the volume because it is getting converted from digital to analog. So it kind of it tries to measure the peak after the conversion. Okay, so I don't know whether it is a true peak. I don't think it is, but still I don't know why it is showing like it should be like a 0 dB maximum, because I have already normalized it to the full dynamic range, but still it is showing a little bit of increase. But what we have found that the RMS value is now increased to minus 16.7 something dB, 72 or something.
Final peak, dB, minus 16.75 dB.
Yeah, minus 16.75, which is close to minus 16. So I'm kind of fine with that right now. I'm kind of fine with that. But if I want to make it to maybe minus 14, let's say, because all the other audios or all the other poems which I have recorded is there at minus 14, near about minus 14. Now I can go there.
Preview. Stop. Okay. Cancel. Help. Average left paren dB right paren colon edit combo. Minus 18.00.
So here I can set like, let's say minus 14.
Page up. Minus 15.0. Page up. Minus 14.00.
So now if I press enter, my volume will be increased, and after that my RMS value or loudness will be minus 14. But there are some more options here. See.
Clipping control allow clipping radio button checked.
3 of 3.
Now it is saying clipping control, and there are 3 radio buttons, and the current one is selected, which is called allow clipping. So what will happen? See, now my RMS is minus 16 and my peak is minus 1.25. To make it to minus 14, obviously it will increase the volume, and maybe I can find that after I increase the volume to make it to minus 14, it crosses 0 dB. I mean the maximum peak will cross 0 dB, maybe 1 dB or maybe 1.05 dB or something like that. I don't know how much. That means my audio will be clipped in some points. Now it is showing allow clipping. That means even it clips, still it will not do anything. I mean it will not abort the processing or something like that. So basically it will allow clipping. So maybe now if I do this,
file voice -01-0,
I arise from the dreams of the. Now again I'm going to that particular dialog.
Loudness match volume, enter, leaving menus.
4.
List view, mono 0, average, 0.19 dB, minus 14.09 dB.
Now see, now it is minus 14.09 dB.
dB, minus 1.16 dB.
And fortunately it is showing the peak value as
dB, minus 1.16 dB.
minus 1.16. But let me check by going to the maximize volume dialog if it is showing something else.
Escape. File
I'm a little bit confused.
4%. 100%.
Maximum, list view, channel, rank, 1, maximum, 1.3 dB, plus 2.75 dB.
Yes, see, here it is showing plus 2.75 dB. So that is the maximum peak actually. And I have got it from maximize volume dialog. See, that means in some point it is clipping. Now I am pressing escape.
File voice, undo.
And I have undone the processing. Now let me go to the maximize volume dialog.
4%. 100%.
List view, mono 1, time, 0 dB, plus 0.00 dB.
Now it is again come back to 0 dB. Okay.
Escape. File
Now
voice
again I'll go there in the match volume. Match volume dialog.
Alt menu. Loudness match volume enter. Leaving menu.
And show you the other controls.
Cancel. Help. Average left paren dB right paren colon edit combo. Minus 18.
So it is again set to minus 18 by default. I am just taking it to minus 14.
Page up. Minus 16 point. Page up. Page up. Minus 14.0. Clipping control allow clipping radio button checked.
3 of 3.
So that is the allow clipping.
Clipping control reduce average level to avoid clipping radio button checked.
2 of 3.
Now it is saying reduce average level to avoid clipping. That means if it finds that okay, my audio is crossing 0 dB, then it will adjust the volume. I mean adjust the RMS value. So even I have set it to minus 14 RMS, maybe it will still be there at minus 15.2, because if it goes above that, like minus 14.5 or something like that, then my audio will clip. So it will basically see the maximum peak value and adjust it accordingly. So it will not allow clipping. It will adjust the RMS value accordingly. What is the third one?
Clipping control abort processing if clipping is required. Radio button checked.
1 of 3.
It will abort the processing. So it will not do the processing. It will show you that, okay, you are going to clip. It will abort the processing. It will not allow you to, set your RMS value in this way. So then you can adjust it later on. Okay, so let me select the second option.
Clipping control reduce average level to avoid clipping. Radio button checked.
Let's see what happens.
4%.
File voice -01-01. File voice -01-0.
It has performed this action. Let me see.
Alt menu. If you fade out loudness match volume enter leaving list view mono 0.1 dB -1.25 dB final peak 0 dB -16.75 dB.
See, it has not done anything. Why? Because see, we have already normalized it to the maximum peak value, which is 0 dB, and in that time also our RMS was -16.75. So what it does nothing, because if it tries to increase any bit, then it will clip. My audio will clip because it will pass 0 dB. So basically it didn't do anything actually. Okay, so
Escape file voice.
now if I still wish to increase the volume without clipping, then what I can do? I have some options, like I can use compressor and I can use the limiter.
Can I just ask you the question?
Go
I've not really understood the meaning of the word clipping. Because clipping in English would mean that some portion of the audio gets clipped. That's what I thought.
Yes.
But here I think it means something different.
If your maximum volume is crossing 0 dB, that means it is clipping. So you may get crackling sound or something like that. Okay. So that actually deals with the maximum peak value. If it is crossing 0 dB, then that means it is clipping.
File voice.
Now, to avoid clipping and still to increase the volume or RMS, you can either use limiter or you can use compressor or similar type of plugin. Now that is something which is RMS. Now RMS has some flaws, especially if I have silence in between. For example, I am speaking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I am speaking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what you have found? I am kind of same loud. I have just put a little bit of gap between the numbers in the first place, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the second time I have not put any gap. I just speak like 1, 2, 3. But I am like same loud. But if I scan it through RMS method, if I use the RMS method, it will find that my first place where I have put some gaps is less louder than the second one. Because the way it scans or it creates the average of the loudness, it also scans the silence area, and as there is no audio in the silence area, so it does the mistake. It cannot bring out the actual loudness. And you see in the music, in the voice, we have gaps sometimes. So that is something which was very much problematic. So even let's say I have an album with 5 songs and I have matched the RMS, maybe -12 dB for example. Still I may find that in some songs it is little louder. Some songs maybe it is little quieter. Because it depends on the song. If it is a electronic music, there is constant constant sound. There is no gap, no silence. And there might be some acoustic type of music where I have gaps sometimes, etc, etc. Not maybe complete silence, but still gaps. And there are some other issues as well, which is very much technical. I'll not go there. So for this, we now found a new type of method, which is called LU or Loudness Unit, which can handle this type of problem properly. Okay, so even if you have silence, it will avoid this, and it will have some very advanced method of getting the average loudness of our audio. Now GoldWave also has this thing which is called loudness. Okay, so if I go
Follow
there,
voice -01 dot flag.
let me see.
Alt C. Auto gain dot.
I.
Fade up. Loudness. Match. Loudness dot Alt plus L.
If you are using my script, then my key assignment, the hotkey is Alt plus L. Now I'm going
Menu
there.
bar.
4%.
Leaving menus. Processing loudness scan dialog. Cancel. Loudness dialog. Presets edit calculate loudness range. List view. Mono -17.97 -0.5606 -5 points. Channel. Mono. LUFS. -17.97.
It is saying LUFS. That is LUFS. Loudness Unit Full Scale. Okay. So it scans the whole file and make a LUFS value, which is
LUFS. -17.97.
-17.97.
LRA. Dash.
And there is something LRA, which is Loudness Range Avarage, which kind of creates an average of the dynamics of my content.
Calculate loudness range.
There is a button also called Calculate Loudness, which is which actually calculates the loudness range.
100%.
If I do this,
Processing loudness range scan dialog. Cancel. Loudness dialog. Loudness dialog.
To navigate.
Presets at list view. Channel. Mono. LUFS. -17.97. LRA. 13.72.
so this is a value which is the dynamics value. Okay, like when I'm speaking, see, I'm sometimes I'm loud enough, sometimes I'm little quiet. So it makes average of the dynamics of my content, song or voice or whatever it is. And there are some values, recommended values, obviously, which I'll obviously discuss with you as well. So this thing, actually, this LU or loudness unit full scale, actually in the modern industry standard, and the dialogue is almost same here.
Stop. Okay. Help. Volume left paren LUFS right paren colon edit combo. -23.00.
So here is the volume or LUFS, which is set to -23. Let me see. Let me take it down to -16.
Page up. -18.0. Page up. -16. -17.97 LUFS.
And if I press tab, it is showing me the current LUFS, which is -17.97.
Clipping control allow clipping radio button checked.
Same thing. Clipping control allow clipping. Clipping control.
Clipping control reduce volume to avoid clipping radio.
Reduce volume to avoid clipping.
Clipping control abort processing if clipping is required radio button checked.
And about processing. Now still my maximum peak value is 0. So if I even choose this,
clipping control reduce volume to avoid clipping radio button checked.
2 of 3.
It will do nothing. So what I can only do, I can just do the
clipping control allow clipping radio button checked.
Allow
3 of
clipping.
3.
And then we can reduce the clip. So I'm pressing enter.
Enter.
4%. 100%.
File voice -01 dash.
Now I have increased my volume to match to -16 LUFS. But obviously my audio has clippings. I arise from the dreams. If I go to the normalized dialog just to check it.
4%. 100%.
List view. Mono. Channel. Rank. Maximum. 1 dB. Plus 1.97 dB.
So plus 1.97 dB. Okay. That means there are some points where my audio goes above 0 dB. Now how to fix that?
Escape. File voice dash.
Because I am liking this
Escape.
volume.
I arise from the dreams of thee in the first sweet sleep of night. When the winds are breathing low.
I'm liking this volume, but there are clippings. So my audio will be rejected if I send it to Amazon or iTunes, etc. Okay. Now what I'll do, I'll use the limiter. Now I told you that the GoldWave doesn't have better limiter, but I suggested some free one. W1 limiter is one of them. So let me go there. I think that is installed in my case.
Alt C. GWVST submen. Ambi. W. T. W1 limiter left bracket D colon backslash enter. Leaving
W1
menus.
limiter.
File voice -0.
Now I'll just go there. I'll press Alt plus B to access the basic parameter.
Alt B. W1 limiter. Preview. Stop. Okay. Help. Threshold colon edit combo. 0.000.
So that is the threshold.
Ceiling colon edit combo. 0.000.
Ceiling is the point. Like if I put it to -1, that means no audio will cross -1, which I'll do.
Page down. Release. Ceiling colon edit combo. 0.000. 0.010. 0.020.
Oh,
0.000.
it is not taking it to the -1 or something like that. Why?
Home. 0. Period.
Let me see.
Dash. 1. Dash. 0. 0 dash 0 edit combo minus 1.000. Release ceiling colon edit combo minus 1.000.
Yeah, I have put it to -1. I had to type it because when I was pressing down arrow, it was only taking me to the 0, not below that. So I have manually typed it to -1.0 because I wish my maximum peak value will be -1.
Threshold colon edit combo.
Now threshold is something which I am setting it to 0 right now. Threshold means if I put it to, let's say, -6 dB, that means it will try to increase the volume by 5 dB to match to -1 dB. So threshold, because I have already make the loudness like it is already crossing 0 dB, so I am not touching this thing.
Ceiling release colon edit combo 0.000.
So here are attack and release controls, same like our compressor.
0.010.
So what I'll do, I'll set it to
0.00 home period 0 10 100.000 0.9 1.000 0 1.000.
Yeah, 1.000 will be my release time.
A dot release colon edit combo 0.000.
Additional release, I am putting it the default 0.
Presets edit combo. A dot ceiling colon edit threshold colon edit 0. Release colon a dot release colon presets edit combo.
And now I'll press enter.
W1 limiter left bracket D colon backslash GoldWave backslash VST backslash W1 limiter X64.dll right bracket dialog. Warning dialog. Quote ceiling colon quote is not in the range of 0.000 to 1.000. Value has been adjusted. Okay.
Oh my god. So it is having some different type of value set here in GoldWave.
GoldWave. W1.
So
threshold colon edit combo 0 ceiling colon edit combo 0.000.
So let it be 0 dB, no problem.
Enter. Release presets edit preview. Okay. Error dialog. An exception occurred during processing. Okay. File voice -01 dot flag.
So it is giving me error.
Alt C GWVST ambient reverb W1 limit enter leaving menu. Win.
To switch page.
New project left Alt tab GoldWave.
Oh my god. What happened? So it crashed.
LJK.
It actually crashed.
GoldWave left paren not GoldWave left paren not responding right paren. GoldWave digital audio editor is not responding if you close the program. You might lose information blank. GoldWave left paren not.
So I'm forced to close it.
Alt F4.
No other way.
GoldWave digital wait for the program to close the space. Cancel.
Button.
Cancel. Desktop. Folder GoldWave 40 enter.
So,
GoldWave. Control dialog. Record.
No file. 4%. 100%.
File voice -01 dot flag.
so again, I have loaded the same file. Let me try to
Alt L.
4%. 100%.
use the
Preview.
loudness
Stop.
dialog.
Okay. Help. Volume left paren LUFS right paren colon edit. Page up. -19.00. Page up. -16.00.
-16.
Clipping control allow clipping radio.
Allow clipping.
Enter.
Enter.
File voice -01 File voice -01 time 16.302. Selected.
Now let me go there.
Alt C GWVS ambient W1 enter. Leaving menus. File voice win. Default settings. GWVST.pig. GWV. JAWS to PC. GoldWave. File menu. New PC.
So basically
PC.
what I
W1
found.
limiter left bracket D colon backslash GoldWave backslash VST backslash W1 limiter X64.dll right bracket dialog. Win. JAWS to basic presets group. Basic VST basic parameters. Left click. Win. PC. Alt B.
No.
W limiter is a previous T.
Yes. So
GoldWave version.
very
JAWS to
unfortunately,
basic a dot release colon 0.00 0.0 release colon 0.6
it is showing me this
0
thing,
a dot release period. Left click. P
but why it is not accepting my keyboard?
JAWS to basic a dot 0 point release 0 ceiling 0 point threshold code 0 star V presets group. Okay, cancel help.
Okay, let me press the OK button and see.
Okay.
Because the default settings is also good,
Left
not
click.
bad.
File voice -01 dot flag. PC file voice -0 Alt C compressor / sensor dot edit menu file edit menu undo W1 limiter left bracket D colon backslash GoldWave backslash VST backslash W1 limiter X64.dll right bracket control plus C escape menu bar.
Now
Escape.
let me see
Leaving
whether
menus.
it worked or not.
Time 16
4%. 100%.
list view channel rank maximum 1 dB -0.00 dB.
Yes, it has done its job. See, actually my peak value should be plus 2 point something dB. I showed you before. Now after applying the limiter to 0 dB. See, now my maximum peak value
dB, minus 0.00 dB.
minus 0.0 dB. Now I'll again, just to
Escape. File voice
cross check, I'll try to go to the loudness dialog.
Alt L.
4%, 100%,
Calculate, list view. Channel, Mon, LUFS, minus 16.06.
See, minus 16.06 dB. So I was set to minus 16 dB. So it will not, exactly match like minus 16 dB, but it has taken me to the minus 16.06. So now I'm very much,
Escape. File voice.
very close to my value. I mean, my maximum peak is 0 dB and my overall loudness is now minus 16.6 dB, which is quite good. If I play,
I arise from the dreams of thee in the first sweet sleep of night, when the winds are breathing low and the stars are shining bright. I arise from the dreams of thee.
so it's quite good. So this way you can just go with this. Now I'm just telling you something which may help you, like when you are dealing with songs, like vocal with music, etc, etc. You can go like 13 LUFS, 12 LUFS, so around 11 to 13. If it is an electronics dance type of music, you may go up to 11.5 or 11, I mean minus 11 obviously. And the normal song you can go like minus 13 LUFS. Okay, that is kind of industry standard very much. For the spoken content you can go from minus 18 to minus 16. Okay, and in YouTube also it takes like minus 13. Okay, YouTube also takes it to the minus 13. And if your event sound is like minus 10, still YouTube will process it so that it goes up to minus 13. Okay, and obviously iTunes may process it differently. I don't know the recommended LUFS for iTunes. So, but yeah, normally for the vocal, I mean your complete song or something like that, you can go up to minus 13, minus 12, etc. For the spoken content, you can go like minus 16 for podcasts, etc, etc. Minus 16 or minus 18 LUFS. Okay, and for the dynamics, minus 7 to minus 13 is a very much safe zone. Obviously, if you are dealing with very much electronic or trance type of music, your dynamics will be less, so it will be like minus 7, minus 8, minus 9. And if you are dealing with any kind of spoken content or maybe acoustic type of song, it should be like minus 12, minus 13, something like that. So that should be your loudness average range, or LRA, loudness range average. That is something which is very important when you are dealing with your project. And
so these are three. So if I might come in just with a question here. So there are three parameters when you're using this loudness effect. One is the maximum peak, which you right now put it at 0.0. The other one is the LUFS, which is at somewhere around 16 that you put. And the LRA, so the LUFS is an average, so is LRA. LRA is the dynamics average, meaning.
Yes.
I'm not 100% clear of the difference between LRA and LUFS.
Okay, LUFS is the overall loudness of your song. It is a measurement method which will kind of measure overall loudness of your song. Okay, and which you have control in your hand. Okay. I mean, you can increase, decrease, etc. And LRA is not pretty important. It tells you like, okay, your dynamic range is this. So you cannot control it properly. I mean, if you want to control it, then you need to re-record. For example, if I say like, okay, Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. So obviously I don't have any kind of dynamics. My dynamics average will be very low. But if I say Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water, so that means I am having some dynamics. Okay, so it is not very important LRA, but it is something which you may check like, okay, I have done it right or not. Because especially in the acoustic type of song, you wish a little bit of dynamics just to know that how much dynamic I am in my project. That LRA can help you. Okay, and especially you need to put your attention on the LUFS while submitting your project to somewhere.
So LRA is more of a reading that
Yes.
makes you aware of what it is, while you have to kind of manage your LUFS and maximum peak.
And now if you send me a acoustic song which you have arranged, mixed and mastered everything, and if I see that okay, the average loud LRA is like -5, then I can tell you, okay, you have done it fine. I mean, everything is fine, but you should have some kind of dynamics. I think your all the instruments are all are louder. I mean, you can just turn down the violin maybe just to make it little, more dynamics, etc., etc. So it's kind of a process which you can follow, like while you are mixing and while you are doing something like that. But it's not like very much important while you are submitting your project. I mean, if your LRA is like -5, your song will not, it should not be rejected by iTunes, for example.
So in a podcast situation, the LRA may not be important at all.
No, it is important. I mean, if you ask my own opinion, you may have your own
Yeah.
opinion, obviously. If you ask my opinion,
Yeah.
I wish, because podcast is usually longer, like it may be like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, or maybe 1 hour or so. So if you don't have dynamics, if you like make it over loud all the time, I'm speaking like this. See, if I speak like this in the whole class, just very close to the microphone or very loud, you're not going to listen me. Okay, you'll having ear fatigue, so you should have some kind of dynamics. And but when you are dealing with a voiceover, like narration and stuff like that, so let's say you are listening to Discovery or maybe Geography channel, there you'll see, so this is the Sundarban area where you'll find like tiger, Royal Bengal. So they don't have loud so much dynamics. They kind of use the same kind of very very heavy bottom end, very bassy type of sound, so they don't have much dynamics. But when you are dealing with, you are taking interview, or you are just discussing over something, then you obviously will have, you'll be having your dynamics. Normally you are having your dynamics. Now you can squash your dynamics if you over compress your audio, because normally when you speak, I speak, we do have dynamics, but I can squash it. I can heavily compress my audio. That will reduce my dynamics. Let's say you have just recorded your podcast and you check your LRA. Let's say you have found that okay, it is -13. Now you have checked it once again after compressing, and you are finding that okay, it is set to -6. That means it's an indication that you have over compressed your audio. You have squashed the
Right.
dynamics. In that case, it
I
is
understand.
important.
I was trying to understand what the word dynamics actually meant, which is basically to do with expression,
Yes.
aggression, mildness. Like in music, you have the PP and the FF and the PF and the MF and so on.
Yeah.
So it's basically an indicator of that, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Right. You are right.
Yeah, okay. And the LUFS is basically an average of your sound.
Average loudness of your sound.
Yeah, okay, got it.
Now, if you are
Thank you.
less dynamic, obviously your loudness will be more.
Right.
Okay.
Got it. I was trying to understand the difference between
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fine.
File
Yeah,
voice dash
thank you.
Okay. Now let me quickly show you, because now if I go to the amplitude statistics dialog, most of the things will be common to you. Now I'm going there by pressing Alt plus F5, which is my hotkey here.
Alt F5. Amplitude statistics. List view. Not selected.
1 of 7.
List view. Peak amplitude -0.000 dB.
1 of
The first thing is everything is very known to you right now.
Peak amplitude -0.000 dB.
Peak amplitude. That means the peak or the loudest part of your audio is -0.0 dB right now. In my case, in this audio,
Peak amplitude value :1.000000.
2 of 7.
that is something in a percentage value. I don't know how they have calculated this. I don't pay attention in this percentage value.
DC offset :0.000015.
3 of 7.
Now, okay, DC offset. I'll come there.
Possibly clip :0.
4 of 7.
Possibly clip :0. That means I haven't clipped. Okay, so if I am having like maybe in some portion, maybe in some cases I am crossing 0 dB. Maybe 3 times I have crossed 0 dB. So it will show like possibly clips 3. So that means it has clipped 3 times. Okay. So in my case, I'm lucky enough. I have not clipped anywhere because I have already used the limiter, to reduce the clip.
Loudness minus 16.06 LUFS.
So
5
that is
7.
the LUFS loudness value. You know it already. LUFS.
Loudness range 13.56 LU.
6 of 7.
And this is the loudness range, that LRA, loudness range average,
Loudness range 13.56 LU.
which is 13. I'm just telling you minus 13, minus 11. It's not like that. LUFS is obviously calculated in minus, like minus 20, minus 16. But LRA, or loudness range average, is only 13 7, 13, 12, stuff like that.
Loudness range 13.56 LU.
So here you see I have enough dynamics. Okay, 13 point something. So I have enough dynamics. And if you listen my poem, you will find that I have, like tried to recite it in a dynamic way.
Peak to loudness ratio 16.06.
7
Now there is a new thing which is peak to loudness ratio. That means they have made an average of the maximum peak value and the LUFS. So it's not very important for you. Okay, and that is something I am seeing it in GoldWave for the first time. Peak to loudness ratio. I have not seen it anywhere else. So these are the options you'll find in the amplitude statistics. And now in the manual, it is stated that if you clicked on any of these,
Loudness range
for example, let's say
loudness minus 16, possibly clip 0.
possibly
7.
clips is 0. Now if it is like 2, maybe I have clipped 2 times in my audio. Now technically, or in manual, it is written like if I click it, then it should take it to the place where it is clipped actually. But unfortunately, I have tested it. I have tried to click it using the left mouse button, right mouse button, and I have tried to press enter on that, but it is taking me nowhere. I don't know. So unfortunately, that feature doesn't work. Now the DC offset.
DC offset 0.000015.
3.
We have talked about the DC offset, like it's a kind of noise which specially comes from our electronics. So if I don't have proper cable, maybe proper grounding in my wall power, then there might be some DC noise. It's kind of, I cannot describe the noise, how it sounds actually. It's kind of, if I just take any amplifier and touch the ground, then it will sound like something like that. Okay, the same kind of sound may be there. Maybe you cannot hear it, but it is there. It is very low frequency sound. Now see, in this audio,
DC offset 0.000015.
3 of 7.
I'm having some DC offset. I'm having some, it is not very much, 0.00015. It's not that much. Now see, if I play this,
Escape.
you cannot hear, because even this thing is recording a very high quality microphone. Okay, which I'm now talking about right now. It is a very high quality microphone, and I'm using pretty high quality cable, but still there might be some issues, and that is why I have got this DC offset. Now if I play,
I arise from the dreams of thee in the first sweet sleep of night, when the winds are breathing low.
You cannot hear that particular any kind of or any kind of mechanical noise, but still it is there a little bit. Now how to fix that? I can obviously fix it. One thing before I fix this thing, you can remember that I have already described, like when we were dealing with the options or control properties dialog, there is a checkbox, I think, in the recording dialog, which I can check, and which will automatically try to remove the DC offset while I am recording. I mean, while I am recording in GoldWave. This recording is not done in GoldWave. So that is, I'll ask you to check if you have not checked it. Now, if you have received any recording which is already having some kind of DC offset, like this recording, or maybe you have forgot to check that box and you have got some DC offset noise, you can remove that. You can go to the filter menu, I mean from the effects menu.
Alt-C. Auto offset removal ...
The first option is auto offset remover. If I press enter,
Menu bar. Leaving menus.
I get some preset, very helpful.
Default.
Remove
stable offset.
So if the offset is very loud, like you can hear it, etc., then you can choose this option.
Remove varying offset.
And this is the varying offsets. Sometimes it is there, sometimes it is not there. But I think I am having this thing. I'm having varying offset because the offset value is very low, like 00015. So I'll enter on this option.
Enter.
100%.
File voice dash 01 dash.
Now I'll again go to the amplitude statistics dialog just to verify that whether it could remove my DC noise.
Alt F5. List view. Peak DC offset colon minus 0.000001.
3 of 7.
A little bit of offset is still there. Okay, but it is not very harmful. 0.000001 is like next to nothing. I can go with that, no problem. But it has done. I mean, it has removed a lot of DC offset. Okay, so that is something you need to pay attention at the final stage when you are going to save your file. Okay, so you should see like whether there is any DC offset or not.
Escape.
And
voice
one
tab,
more
escape.
thing, let me just verify.
Alt Q point sub on Q channel sub selection sub menu select all control select view control find dot blended mark insert silent mute shift plus
Okay,
trim
so
sub
this is
menu.
about mono recording, but what about stereo recording? Because we know that our maximum peak value should be minus 1 dB or 0 dB. So when we have any recording in stereo mode, then we have got two channels, like suppose left minus 1 dB and right minus 1 dB. So in stereo mode, what we will do, or how?
Yeah,
we
you just
can
check one. See, if you find that there is a huge difference, like maybe left channel minus 1 dB, right channel is minus 5 dB. That means there is some issues with your mixing or maybe your connection or something like that. Okay, there should not be equal, like left is minus 1, right is also minus 1. In very specific cases, you may have the similar value. Okay, but most of the cases there might be some difference. So just calculate it according to the loudest one. If your left is like minus 1, your right is like minus 1.7. That is fine. There is no problem.
Delete del. Replace override crossfade mix crossfade mix paste new control paste control
One option I'm trying to find.
copy to copy cut control redo undo Q points channel sub menu selection sub menu set snap to 0 dash crossing control plus alt plus C.
Z.
Control Alt Z is the hotkey, but you can find it if you go to the edit menu and
Set selection sub menu.
Selection sub menu. If you go there
Set
and if you press up arrow, because this is the last option,
Snap to 0 dash crossing control plus alt plus C.
Z.
snap to 0 crossing. I'll ask you to check that box. You can just press enter,
Enter. Leaving menus.
and
File voice dash
GoldWave will
0.
remember it. Remember, we have talked about 0 crossing, like our sound is constantly vibrating. Okay, so when it is crossing 0, I mean, if we cut somewhere, let's say I have made a selection and then I have cut it, you may get some clicky noise while you have cut in the middle portion or something like that. You may get some maybe just like a tick or something like that, or maybe a little crackling. So if you check that box, then what will happen, if when you are pressing start marker or finish marker, let's say you have pressed start marker on 5.03010 seconds, for example, but in that place there is no 0 crossing. Maybe the 0 crossing is there in 5.0304 seconds. So automatically it will take you to that place. I mean, instead of getting the start marker or adding the start marker at that particular place where you have pressed the left bracket key, it will automatically take it to the 0 crossing. So that will actually help you to avoid any kind of clicking noise or something like that. Okay, so I'll recommend you to check that box, and if you checked it once, it will remember it.
Alt E Q channel select all control selection sub menu. Set snap to 0 dash crossing control plus alt plus C checked.
Yeah,
Z.
now just check. Now
Escape,
it will
escape,
remember
menu
it. So
bar,
I'll
Escape.
uh,
Leaving menus.
recommend you to check that box. So yeah, that's something I am having for today. Now we will take 2 more sessions and then we will finish. In the next day, I'll do 2 things. I'm telling you in advance. First, I'll record something in voiceover. Okay, and then I'll process from the beginning to the end in GoldWave to make it a good one. And second, I'll take a vocal. Obviously I cannot sing, so I'll take one recording from somewhere, maybe some from some project, and then I'll process the vocal in GoldWave, completely process the vocal in GoldWave. So that will be there in the in the next class, and in the last class, if I miss something, I'll talk about that, and I'll take your questions, answer, opinion, etc., etc. So that will be the kind of finishing ending class. Okay, so we'll be having 2 more sessions, and then in session number 15 we will finally finish this overall thing. Now today, if you have any question, you can just ask me.
Two questions. One is this last bit you said, in which dialog box did you actually press the checkbox? That slipped my mind.
Yeah, if you go to the, if you can either press Alt Control Z, that will automatically turn it, but you don't know whether it is on or off in your case. Okay, so it is better to go to the edit menu by pressing Alt plus E, and then selection sub menu, and in the selection sub menu, the last option is that 0.
Channel selection sub snap to 0 dash crossing control plus alt plus
snap to 0 dash crossing, it is saying.
Okay, so that will identify these little little ticks or whatever.
Yes.
The second question I have is not necessarily pertaining to what we discussed today, but no, there are when you are speaking to somebody and recording, there are people who keep doing okay, I went there. So is there any way of kind of selecting that once and kind of process the entire file?
No, unfortunately not in our hand right now. Though Adobe has made us such things which is not public yet, where you can select one particular type of, like, let's say or maybe a car horn. Okay.
Yeah.
And you can select that, and then it will remove the same from your whole audio.
To the file.
Yeah. But unfortunately we don't have such a thing right now. What we have, actually, we have some VST which may take up the breath, which can detect the breath. Okay, so automatically it will remove the breath, and so that kind of thing we are having, but we don't have such tools like which will delete that even we have tools to delete like mouth clicks, like when we speak now, sometimes this type of noise is there. This type of noise you can also, when there are some special tools to, it will automatically detect that type of noise and remove it. But unfortunately we cannot, we don't have any tools to remove that type of thing.
And when you are applying loudness and match the sound, do you have to press Control A before you start doing that, or it automatically scans the entire file?
No, if your whole file is not selected, maybe you have done some editing and maybe somewhere middle point is now selected, so it is best practice to press Control plus A. Otherwise it will perform the same duty in the selected portion of the audio.
हुजूर एक सवाल मेरा,
yes,
आज के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में तो नहीं है, वो सवाल ये कि अगर हमने कोई फाइल रिकॉर्ड करनी है कि उसमें म्यूजिक भी हो और हम भी बोल रहे हैं, मतलब एक तरफ कुछ म्यूजिक भी चले और कुछ मैं भी बोल रहा हूँ, और मैं ये चाहूँ कि भाई जहाँ मैं बोल रहा हूँ वहां म्यूजिक रहे तो सही लेकिन कम हो जाए, और जहां मैं थोड़ा सा साइलेंट हो जाऊं तो वो म्यूजिक रहे और उससे ऊंचा हो जाए, तो उसके लिए भी तो कोई तरीका होगा?
Yes, we have already discussed about that. That is called voiceover in the effects menu.
Alt C, reset the playback rate volume
okay, मुझे लगता है फिर मैंने वो अटेंड नहीं किया होगा, है ना?
That is the voiceover. I'll suggest you to listen that particular video. It is like same like mixing. So first you'll open a music file, and then you open or create a voice file, and then you copy the voice file in your clipboard. Okay, that is the thing, and then you go to the music file and then go to this option, voiceover option, and there are options, like how many volume how much volume it will be reduced while you are speaking, okay, and stuff like that. So it's I have described in very thoroughly, so I'll
वो मुझे लगता है मैंने वो शायद क्लास अटेंड ना की हो, इस वजह से ये बात कही होगी.
And also we'll do the same thing in the next class also, when we'll do the voiceover stuff. We'll discuss the same thing.
Escape. Leaving menus. File voice dash.
Okay, so I have some questions. So first is actually I want to the reason. Suppose I have created an audio story. So there I have received various types of files from various persons. Suppose someone is recording from his or her mobile phone, and someone is recording from computer microphone. So then when I complete all the things, then when I saved this file as MP3, Then when I listen it through my headphone, it sounds very loud, no problem. But when I have uploaded it on YouTube or listen from my mobile speaker, so it will sounds quite low volume. So what is the reason? I mean, how it happens?
Now see
Though I am
there
recording, though I am recording using my condenser USB condenser microphone. Okay, so actually my voice is also in low volume when I play it in my mobile phone speaker.
now there might be several reasons for that. Okay, number one, your voice should be properly equalized. What we do now, sometimes we do by mistake. I'll discuss it in detail in the next class. Everyone, especially the men, actually, we wish to have very bassy type of voice, like, okay, this voice is very much bass I'm having. Okay, so we wish that our voice will be very much bassy type of thing. Okay, we sometimes accidentally increase the bass a lot, but to get a bassy voice, you don't need to always increase the bass of your voice. So what I mean to say, like, improper equalization can lead you to get less louder audio. If you equalize it wrongly, then especially in the smaller devices like mobile phone, because it is having a tiny speaker, the speaker is designed like, okay, if the audio is perfect, I mean it is properly equalized, then it will sound good. It is designed that way. But if you don't equalize it properly, or better to say, if you improperly use the equalizer, then you may get less louder sound. Second thing is, you may not have proper headphone, or you may not have proper trained ears to judge whether you are enough loud, and in that cases this thing will help you. Okay, so this loudness meter, something like that will help you, because I also told you now, like when you are dealing with, for example, audio story, that means your LUFS should be around -16, -15 or something like that. Okay, now when you are when you are getting audios from multiple sources, and somebody is recording from mobile, somebody is recording from a different mobile, and somebody is using a condenser microphone, maybe somebody is using a dynamic microphone, so they all have different loudness, and you need to make an average. Either you can go like, okay, first I'll normalize everything, or maybe first I'll make every audio to let's say 18 dB LUFS. That means all of my audio is now in average loudness, which is -18 for now. Maybe later on, when I'll done with the project, then I'll increase it to -16 or something like that. But for now, as I'm going to edit, I'm going to equalize, I'm going to do this thing, and then I'll just make everything -18 dB LUFS. You can take that route, and then you can start editing. You can use compressor, some kind of compressor, so that will help you if some audio is loud enough and some audio is not enough loud, then the compressor can squash that enough loud audio to make a balance. But obviously compressor can do it dramatically. So for example, if you will find an audio which is like twinkle twinkle little star, and another is Jack and Jill wait up the hill, so see, my Jack and Jill is way louder than twinkle twinkle, then compressor will not help you. Then you need to select separately Jack and Jill and make it -18 dB LUFS, or then again select the twinkle twinkle part and make it to -18 dB LUFS, just to make a balance in your loudness. Okay, that approach you can also take. So there are different approaches which you can take, but mostly the thing is, this type of loudness meter, LUFS meter, the amplitude statistics, this type of thing will finally help you. And obviously this thing will also come gradually. You need to make your ear very trained, and so much you play with this type of thing, your ears will be trained gradually. So that is something, a proper equalization, proper compression, proper usage of limiter will help you to make your audio loud enough. And that is actually, it's not very easy to do, I'm telling you, because that is something we teach in the mastering session. So mastering is not that easy. Okay, mixing is not that tough, and mastering is not that easy. So it's something you will achieve gradually if you properly go with the proper treatment and proper way to do this. And obviously you have tools, again you have tools like to measure this type of thing, and fortunately these are accessible right now. I mean, the amplitude statistics, normalized dialogue, the loudness dialogue, all are accessible, so you can just take help of that particular tools.
Okay, so as we use some ready-made background music for the stories or like poems or whatever. So do I need to apply any stuff except I mean changing volumes, or I mean except changing volumes, do I apply any stuff
Now that depends on the
like
music and
compressor
context.
or what?
Usually we don't use compressor. Usually don't. But we may use reverb. We may use equalizer. Okay, in the background score as well. Maybe the background is very busy type of background, but I don't want that much of bass. So I can just equalize it and turn down the bass a little bit. Maybe I am having a piano, very melodic piano, but that piano I want to use in a very emotional moment. Then I'll use some kind of reverb, and to make it little back forward as well, and to give it a little ambience which it requires. So obviously I can use effects in the background score. Compressor, I don't think we need to use, because I wish that when I am getting the music, it is already mixed pretty well.
So, if I might just get back to asking another question, which is,
Yes.
There are several effects that we have used now. We have used noise gate, you have used silence reduction, you're using compressor, equalizer, and then you have match the sound, and then you have the loudness, and then you have normalizing. So is the normalization the last of the effects to be done, or the one we learned today about loudness and match the volume? I mean, is the sequence of doing it important?
Now see, if I use the loudness dial or loudness tool along with the limiter, I don't need to use the normalization dialog. Okay, but if I am not happy with that, I mean, if I cannot play much with the loudness thing, and if something I want to do very quick, then I can just use the normalization dialog. Okay, so you can just avoid this normalization dialog if you can use the loudness dialog properly along with the limiter. You may skip that as well.
And this W1 is W numeric 1 or WONE?
Yes. No, numeric 1.
Numeric 1, okay. So if I do a Google search, I should be able to find it.
Yes, it is a very famous one.
The W1 limiter.
Yes.
So I download it and then I kind of add it to install it with GoldWave.
Yes.
Right.
I have a reminder for Pradip.
Okay, so I have a actually this is not a particularly not a this question is not particularly related to GoldWave but related to sound also. I have a cable, USB cable, and I want to connect my musical keyboard with my computer. So is there MIDI device is necessary to connect it?
Your keyboard has USB to MIDI function?
Yes.
Then you can use it. You need to just install the driver of your keyboard. Okay. And then you can just connect your keyboard.
Okay, then I am using Yamaha keyboard. So there is only one driver for Yamaha, or I have to search my model number, I mean Yamaha with my model number?
Better to search Yamaha with the model number, because there are actually 2-3 drivers. One driver which is mostly used for every beginner level.
I have already downloaded a driver, and when I have to install it, it says that there are no device.
No, that means you have downloaded the wrong driver. So it is better to search by the model number and download the driver accordingly.
Okay, which means without MIDI device, I can connect my keyboard with my computer.
Yes.
Okay, so then after installing the driver, what I will do?
Then you need to configure your DAW properly so that it can detect, because you've been having some kind of host or DAW to play with the MIDI, na? You're
Okay,
normally
okay. Yes,
connecting
yes,
MIDI
like
will,
Reaper,
yeah.
like Reaper.
So there you need to configure your MIDI inputs and outputs.
Okay, okay. Actually, I've tried this, but this not work. That's why I have asked. Okay.
One more quick question about the
Ah.
subject which we are talking about, which is you talked about two things today, matching the sound. That is the RMS, and we talked about loudness.
Yes.
Is this an either or situation, or we can apply both?
I'll stick with the loudness. I'll avoid RMS. It is there,
RMS.
but I'll not touch that, because that is something which people are avoiding these days.
Okay, then there is another very popular audio editing software called Audacity. What are your views on that?
Okay, now Audacity is obviously a very good piece of software. I have not played much with that. Now, in the recent days, Audacity is there in the headline repeatedly, because though it is an open source software, but it has been taken by a new institution, and they're adding some kind of a telemetry in Audacity, which is very much, people are not liking that. So that's a different story, but overall Audacity is a very good piece of software because it is free, open source, and it has some good effects as far as I know. I have not played much with that. Okay, but it is a good piece of software. Someone can play with
and
that.
It is accessible.
It is accessible. There is a special JavaScript as well,
and
without JavaScript you can also use.
It is a DAW or normal.
Yeah, it is a multi-track
like
recorder, so you can call it a DAW, but it doesn't have MIDI capabilities as far as I know, and I don't know whether it supports VST3, but obviously you can pair it with VST2 and you can record multi-track. So in that context, we can call it a DAW as well.
And I was looking at the net, and there's something called, and somebody is using it, so I just wanted your opinion. There is the Boyo unidirectional condenser microphone with a cable. So is that something which you have used before, and is that something which is
now? See, there are several types of this type of, even the JBL has released one, and the lavalier microphone in the price point of 1000 to 2000. Now these are not that great in my personal opinion. It's like kind of little powerful microphone than our headphones one. Okay, so basically it is a carbon microphone. They are calling it a condenser, omnidirectional, blah 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 language, terms. But actually basically it is a carbon microphone which is used in mobile headphone, mobile handset, etc, etc. Maybe little powerful. So you'll not get like hell and heaven difference. There might be a little bit of difference in compared to your headphones microphone, or maybe in some point your headphones microphone is little better than that one.
Right.
Okay, so it's not a very something which I'll suggest pretty much.
So if you want to buy a microphone, it will be better to go for something which is slightly more.
Any USB, if you don't have any treated room, any USB dynamic is fine. And if you have a sound card in any case, then there is a microphone from Behringer which is, I think, a BM 85,000, something 85,000 BMS or something like that.
It's like 85,000 is not the cost.
It's around 2,500.
Okay.
But it is not an USB microphone. Okay, so it is a dynamic. So if you have a mixer or maybe a sound card, then you can use that. But it is a very good piece of microphone. It sounds very, very good. It is a dynamic one, so it doesn't catch a lot of room ambience. Other than that, if you don't have sound cards or mixer or something like that, then you should go for a USB dynamic or USB condenser if you really want to get professional sound.
So on an ordinary regular laptop, a Dell laptop, which comes in with their own sound card, we haven't put any external sound card or additional sound card. What might be an optimum microphone?
Now, if you can pay like 5,000, 6,000, then you'll get like lot of USB and USB dynamic or even USB condenser microphone. and that will work pretty well.
Which is better, condenser or dynamic?
See, condenser will work better, but only if you have a treated room. For the non-treated room, dynamic is better. Because it will not catch lot of room ambiances and all. When I'm right now I'm using a pretty expensive condenser microphone, but I cannot use it to its fullest potential. I had to use some kind of noise reduction tool and something like that. So I'm having analog hardware for that. So that is why I can use it still, but other than that I couldn't use. There's fan running in my background, and it is a normal bedroom. So condenser is obviously pretty good, but only if you have proper hardware to eliminate the noise, or if you have proper room.
Right. So according to you, your recommendation is a dynamic.
USB dynamic, or especially hybrid dynamic, which is having both USB and XLR. That will give you a future-proof solution, because in future if you purchase any mixer or sound card, you can use the XLR as well.
Okay. XLR is a kind of jack, is it?
Yeah, which is normally used in mixer and sound card.
Okay, that's different from the 3.3.
Yes.
Ordinary headphone jack. Okay. And so in the dynamic microphone range, what are the common brands which one can safely look at?
See, I can recommend 3 brands. One is Samson, not Samsung. SAMSON, Samson. Okay. Yeah. Second one is Audio Technica, and third one is Rode, RODE, Rode. And there is one more called Blue, which is also very famous.
The color blue.
Yeah, Blue. So these are very famous. Yes.
So Samsung, Rode, Blue, and
Audio Technica.
Audio Technica. Okay. Great. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Taken a lot of your time today.
Is there anything from anyone? Then we will end this today. Okay, fine. So yes, that's all for today. We'll meet you in the coming Sunday for session number 14. Take care. Good night.